What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters, and welcome to Life Metal. It's time for a rock metal update. Time for rock metal update. Part 2 of my rock and metal update. This is going to be all studio albums, and it will be all vinyl and mostly metal in this one. The live album one was a lot of hard rock. There was some metal in there too, like Hades, but this one's a lot more metal than hard rock. So first one I want to show you, this is actually one I've shown in another video, but I want to show it again for a specific reason. A friend of mine, Greg the Egg, or Blackmore Rolls on YouTube, sent me this awesome bonsai pressing of Raven's Break the Chain EP. Now, I have an original copy of the EP here. This is the Neat Records pressing, of course, from the UK. The new wave of British heavy metal label. Everyone knows who Neat Records is. It is a 12-inch, 3-track featuring the classic cut Born to Be Wild. It is one of the most outrageous, crazy, and wild versions of Born to Be Wild you'll ever hear. Side A is Break the Chain, which, of course, was the single from the album. And side B was Born to Be Wild and a classic, great version of Inquisitor. So, okay, so why are you showing us that? Well, this bonsai pressing, which came out in Canada, let me read it to you. 12-inch 6-track featuring the classic cut Born to Be Wild. So you'll notice a couple of different things. First of all, it's got 6 tracks instead of 3. It's got actual band photos on the back of it, which is a little bit funny because the photos are actually not from. It's actually from the follow-up album Stay Hard, but it's still cool because the tracks on here. So you got. Of course, you got Break the Chain, Born to Be Wild, Inquisitor, which was the 3 tracks on here. Side B has Rock Hard from this Rock Hard single, Wiped Out from the Wiped Out single, and the Ballad of Marshall Stack, which was a B-side of another, I think was the B-side of the Born to Be Wild 7-inch single. So, really cool. And of course, anything on the Bonsai label is highly collectible. It's got that vintage classic label, as does Neat Records. And of course, almost all have the bonsai labels have the classic bonsai on the one side, and then it usually has all the other information on the other side, which is one of the things that makes the stuff so collectible, is that bonsai label, and the fact that they have cool stuff like 3 extra tracks that weren't on the original pressing. So this pressing had to come out maybe a year after the first one. It says 83 on here, which is when this one came out. But if it's 83, if it's actually 83, it must have been late 83, because like I said, these pictures are from the Stay Hard album. Anyhow, very cool. Really glad to have it. So thanks, Greg Degg, for that. Just thought I'd show it because I know a lot of Raven fans, and I'm surprised how many, including myself. So I'm not any better than anybody else. I'm surprised how many Raven fans don't know about the 6-track version that came out. All right, next up, New Deep Purple. Fantastic minimalist cover. It does say Equal 1 Deep Purple, and it is embossed on white. And the back is pretty simple. It's got some nice artwork on the inside. I'm not going to get real deep into it because I have a lot to show. But I'm going to say this is going to be one of my albums of the year. This is a great album. I love Deep Purple to begin with, but I really think this is one of the best albums they put out. Gosh, maybe since the 80s. It's just that good. And I love a lot of the stuff, like Perpendicular, and a lot of the stuff they put out in more recent years with Steve Morse, I think, are really good. But I really think this was a harkening back to classic 70s Deep Purple. Of course, Ian Gill isn't doing as much screaming and high-pitched stuff as he did back then, but he's still got a great voice, and he's always been one of my favorite singers. And one of those guys I would love to meet and shake his hand and get an autograph from. I doubt it will ever happen. I've been to lots of shows where I was seen him with Black Sabbath. I've seen him with Deep Purple, but yeah, it's just never got a chance to actually meet the guy. All right, next up, new album from Hammerfall. This is Avenge the Fallen, and when I showed this on Facebook and when I played it the day I played it, I started getting it. What do you think of it? What does it sound like? It sounds like Hammerfall. I mean, they really have a style. They really have a sound. They do evolve a little bit from album to album, but much like Motorhead or AC/DC or some of those bands who just stay true to their sound, Hammerfall have stayed true to their sound. They're just still playing that classic, melodic, heavy metal, European power metal, whatever you want to call it. The high, clean vocals, the awesome guitar solos. The band has really only got 2 original members in it. I think they've pretty much gone through several different drummers and bass players and guitar players, and but yeah, they've got the basically two, yeah, the original singer and the original guitar player, and that's it. So, but like I said, still sounds the same. You know, still sounds like classic Hammerfall. And the reason I didn't say their names is because I just can't, for the life of me, remember. I know one is Oscar Dronark, but I can't remember the singer's name. Joachim Cans, that's right, Cans, because I think I have his solo album, which was, I think, called Cans. He also sang with Warlord on one album. So, Hammerfall, Avenge the Fallen. Really good album for 2024. Another brand new release. This is Anvil's latest. This is one and only. Another band that's pretty much sticking to their sound. If you don't like the last 2-3 albums, you're probably not going to like this one. However, the last album I didn't really care for at all. I can't remember the name of it, to tell you the truth. It had a picture of a angel smoking a bong that looked like an anvil. It just didn't catch me, man. And I love Anvil. This one here I like a lot better than the last one. I've only had it for a short while, and I've only got to play it once or twice, but I didn't listen to it. I'm like, that's kind of where I was with the last album. This one, I'm not forcing myself to listen to it to like it. I actually enjoyed it on the very first listen. It sounds like classic Anvil. So, I mean, if you like classic Anvil, chances are you're going to like this one. It's a good album. That's some German thrash from Holy Moses. This is Disorder of the Order. This is Savart Records reissue. I don't know when it was re-released. I don't know if I see a date on here anywhere, but yeah, this is just raw, heavy thrash metal. I mean, they do have a female singer. That's her right there. But she is no Doro Pesh or Lita Ford or Joan Jett. No, she's a thrash singer, man. She puts it all out there. She's raw and aggressive. I mean, these guys could hang with Creator and Destruction and Accuser and all those bands. Sodom. So yeah, that's a great band. So if you don't know Holy Moses, definitely check them out. Their 80s stuff is great. Their newer stuff is great. This album, I believe, was originally released in 2002. Like I said, I don't know when the reissue was, but I'm glad to finally have it. It also comes with a comic book inside of it. And of course, the comic on the front cover is also displayed throughout the booklet. Let's see, another new album. Yeah. Although this is actually a little... Oops. It's actually from 2023. One that I don't know how I missed it, but this is Foghat, Sonic Mojo. Very bluesy. This is exactly what you want to hear from Foghat. Now, when you think Foghat, unfortunately, the two main guys from Foghat had died years ago. So the only guy left that's from the original band is drummer Roger Earl. But they still sound like Foghat, and it's still a great record. I really enjoyed it. Brian Bassett, lead slide guitars and vocals. Scott Holt on lead vocals and lead guitar. Rodney O'Quinn on bass, and Eddie Lefebvre, I think that's how you say it, on percussion. But yeah, great album. Really, like I said, bluesy, hard rock. Sound like classic Foghat. If you dig Foghat, check it out. I mean, like I said, it's not very many original members left, just Roger Earl. But if you dig that sound, it's still there. So, all right, up next, this is Ignorance. This is a Metal Blade release from, had to be what, early 90s or late 80s at the best. 1991, looks like. And it's kind of a weird mixture. I have the CD of this. I've had it for decades. I mean, I've pretty much had it since it came out. And it's a really unique sound. They kind of blend thrash metal and funk. And there was a lot of bands like experimenting with that funk bass and slap bass stuff in the 90s, doing that, doing thrash as well as funk. And that's what you got going on here. Very funky thrash metal. So it's heavy. I don't know how. So they're a unique band. If you like that, that funk sound mixed with heavy guitars and some thrash metal influences, this is worth checking out. They did release more than one album, but this is pretty much the one that most people know and recommend. The Confidence Rat. It was released on Metal Blade Records. Unfortunately, it has not been reissued, so it's very hard to find these days, especially on vinyl. But if you can find it, worth checking out. My copy is actually a Music for Nations pressing license from Metal Blade. Kind of look like, like Anthrax meets Faith No More. That's kind of the look and the sound of the band. So, Ignorance, The Confidence Rat. Just, like I said, I've had the CD forever. I stumbled across a vinyl copy for a good price, so I kept it. Alright, this is some stoner rock from Lid. The name of the album is In the Mushroom. But of course, you've got Eric Wagner on vocals, so it definitely has that Skull Trouble-ish sound. I have a friend who, like myself, is a huge fan of the Skull and Trouble, and he actually likes this better than anything the Skull put out. So I don't know. It's not Doom. It's more of the stoner rock, but it is a really good record. So I'm glad he recommended it. It's got more than one cover. I think this is the repress cover. Don't care, like it. Glad it finally came out on vinyl. I think it originally only came out on CD, and it came out back in 1997. So quite a while ago. And somehow I just managed, as much as I love Eric Wagner and Trouble, I somehow managed to overlook this one until just recently. And it was thanks to Steve, Harmless Rebel, on YouTube. He's like, dude, you need to get it before it's gone. And I jumped on it, and glad I did. Alright, I don't know much about this band. I just recently picked it up, but I've been spinning it. This is a newer band on Flogger Records. But this is, the band is called Epidemic. It is definitely thrash metal. The music is really, really well done, I thought, as far as thrash metal goes. Let's see if I can get this thing open here. It is an EP, 4 songs. Pretty, epic packaging for an EP. And then it's got the insert with the mandatory collage. You can't put out a thrash metal album and not have a collage. I mean, that's just blasphemy, right? But, yeah, I only heard it once. I liked what I heard. I was a little disappointed in the vocals. Not that the vocals are bad. It's just that he's just doing the kind of the stereotypical death metal style vocals, which I don't know. It's okay. I just need to give it 1 or 2 more listens. Maybe some of you guys know this band Epidemic a bit more than I do. I'm actually looking for a year on this thing. 2014 is the copyright on it. So if anybody you guys know more about this band, I'd love to hear about what you think of them, what you know about them, because like I said, I'm new to them. I basically picked it up on a whim when I saw the cover art and the hand-drawn cover art and and read that they were a thrash band, so that was enough for me to check it out. And like I said, I like it. Music's really good. I need to give it a few more spins to see if I start getting more into the death style vocals. And I like death metal, so don't get me wrong. I mean, I like death metal as well, but it's just it's just not what I was expecting. That's all. So there you go, Epidemic. And let's see, we got a few more here. This is not metal or hard rock. This is one of my favorite guitar players and one of my favorite straight up rock musicians. This is Phil Keaggy, Town to Town. This one's from 1970 something or other. I can't remember the year on this one. Hooky, rock and roll, great guitar work, some Beatlesque influences in this thing. Let's see, I'm looking to see if there's an insert in here or not. That might tell me what the year was. I might even, let's see, year. I hate when I don't know these things right away. Nah, I don't see it. But it's a good, like I said, just good rock. If you know Phil Keaggy from, he's got, gosh, guy's got to have like 50 or 60 albums out. He's got instrumental albums, he's got hard rock albums, he's got blues rock albums, he's got gospel albums. I mean, he's done stuff with other gospel artists. He was in the progressive 60s band Glass Harp. So the guy's been around for a long time. I just wish I could see what year this was, because it's just driving me nuts that I can't remember it. Let's see, maybe I can see it with this. 1981 is the copyright year on here, so actually I was off by a few years. So definitely has a 70s sound to it. So don't expect 80s. Don't expect the Cars, that kind of new wave pop rock stuff that was becoming popular in the early 80s. No, this is definitely more of an organic 70s rock sound. Great album, like I said, from Phil Keaggy. I picked this one up really cheap too, and the woman who sold it to me said that the vinyl was in near mint condition and that the album cover was in excellent condition, and she's pretty much right. I mean, I've seen these things pretty wore out, but again, I don't know what it is with the corner bends, but there's another corner bend on this one too, so I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. It's not as bad as some of the other ones I showed earlier, but okay, next up, some Japanese metal from Earthshaker. This is Overrun. Does not have an Obi. I don't know if it ever did, or if this is like a promo copy. There's a hype sticker on it. in Japanese, which I don't usually leave this the plastic wrap, but I'm going to leave this one. Dude, I want that hype sticker left on there, and I don't want it to get lost, so I'm going to leave it. But yeah, just it's melodic, you know, kind of not far off from what Loudness was doing around the same time in the 80s. Just, you know, melodic, heavy metal, very Judas Priest inspired, you know, probably about as heavy as like early Rat and stuff like that, and Quiet Riot. But I quite enjoyed this album, Earthshaker. It actually, it's a bit odd, like I said, it doesn't have an Obi strip, and it comes with like a poster and postcards of the band. I don't know, like I said, I don't know a lot about these guys, but maybe they were super popular in Japan. But let me show you the poster real quick. So here's the poster, if I can get it open. And you can see the lyrics and stuff on the inside. And then you've got this, which you can see there's cut marks on here in the back. This is postcards of the band as well. So yeah, kind of interesting release. I picked this up from a Japanese seller, and I was looking for some other stuff. And I actually picked it up because he didn't charge additional shipping, and so I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to pay whatever it was for shipping, I'm going to see what else he has that I might be interested in. And this one here was like 10 or 15 bucks, so it was worth just to check it out, and I quite liked it. I have other Earthshaker albums, but glad to pick this one up as well. So if you're ever looking for some solid Japanese 80s heavy metal, Earthshaker Overrun. This next one is a Grail, and thank Rob Caldwell for hooking me up with it. I've been looking for this for years. I have a CD bootleg of this. I don't think it's ever been officially released on CD, but this is Liege Lord's Freedom Rise, the first album. Just great U.S. power metal, you know, along the lines of, you know, Metal Church and Reverend, and it's just that sort of, you know, riding the wave between traditional heavy metal and thrash, that U.S. power metal sound. But yeah, this is anybody who knows anything about, you know, classic U.S. heavy metal knows about this album and the scarcity of it. There's two different covers. This is, I believe, the U.S. pressing on Azure Records, and I can't remember what year this came out. It had to be mid-'80s, but yeah, like I said, glad to finally find a copy on vinyl. I've been, like I said, looking forever for one of these. Their second and third albums are just superb as well. All three Liege Lord albums are worth checking out. But here's the center, classic, you know, 80s looking layout, lyrics, live photos of the band. So yeah, this says copyright 85, so like I said, mid-80s. It also came with a little newsletter from the label that has Dark Angel, Armed Forces, Ripper, Necrophasia, Overkill, Mad Rain, Jag Panzer, Dizzy Bitch. Yeah. So yeah, it's got all kinds of fun stuff in there. And then it's got that classic silver Ironworks center label. Freedom's Rise from Liege Lord, an absolute freaking classic and a grail. Like I said, years. I've been looking for a copy for years for a decent price. And this total hookup, because the average selling price on this thing is, if you go to, you know, like Discogs, something like that, a copy in decent shape goes between $100 and $200. This thing, as you can see, it's like, it almost looks like it's brand new. No bends, no nothing. And the vinyl sounds perfect. I played it once already. So, all right, another original pressing. This is Warfare, 1985, Roadrunner Records. Kind of Venomish, early Tank influence or sound in the you know, heavy metal coming out of the UK. Warfare, Metal Anarchy, is that what it is? Metal, I think it's Metal Anarchy. Metal Anarchy. This one I got in a trade with a good friend of mine. He used to do videos. He doesn't do them anymore. He used to do videos under Metal Ron. He no longer does videos, which is a bummer because I enjoyed his stuff. But yeah, really cool to have, and a nice trade. Roadrunner Records, 1985. These next two came from him as well, and then I've got two more after that. So I'm doing all right. 20 minutes in, I got There's only a few more to show. So this is Running Wild, Death or Glory. This is not an original pressing. This is a noise repressing. Very nicely done. I haven't actually had a chance to spin this vinyl pressing yet. I've had this thing on CD for, gosh, decades. You can read my review on my old website, which is still there, called nolifetilmetal.com. But yeah, this is just classic German heavy metal, speed metal, whatever you want to call it. And then along with that one, probably one of their most well-known and liked albums, The Black Hand In, where they really, stepped and dug hard into that whole pirate sound in the 80s. And this one was Rock and Rolf. This was recorded when? 1980. This is a 2017 pressing, but this thing was, I know it was recorded in the mid-80s. And I don't see a year on here anywhere. They've only got 2017. This is another double album. As you can see, I think the original pressing was a single album, so I don't know if there's bonus tracks on here or what the deal is, because there is quite a few songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tracks. I'm almost positive that if anybody has the original pressing of Black Hand In on vinyl, was it a double or was it a single? Like I said, I bought the CD back in the 90s, and I still have that original CD, so cool to finally have a vinyl pressing of it. And then the last one, this is not metal by any stretch of the imagination, but this is The Kids Are Alright by The Who. I just been in this weird 70s rock kick recently, so I've been listening to stuff like Mott the Hoople and Ian Hunter and Nick Gilder and just stuff like that, the Rolling Stones, The Who, Humble Pie, Peter Frampton, Steve Morse. So that's kind of stuff. I don't know why. I've just been in that mood recently, and I've been listening to that kind of stuff. So I was listening to a bunch, the few Who records I have. I'm not a huge The Who collector, but I do like them. And then I stumbled across this copy of The Kids Are Alright, which of course is kind of a compilation of live tracks, and it's basically a movie soundtrack for a movie about The Who. And it's, top loading. And these things are always tore up, man. They usually have massive ring wear. This one has none. It has the original inner sleeves that are embossed, and they're in great shape. Whoever owned this before took really good care of it, because they even put poly sleeves inside the original sleeves. It has both albums. They're near mint, and it actually has the original booklet inside as well, which you can see. And it too is in really good condition, but yeah, it's just packed full of photos. So yeah, and it wasn't real expensive, so it's like, yeah, right on, I'm going to grab that, because it's just, like I said, the mood I've been in recently. I've been listening to a lot of stuff like that. Boston was another one. I was on a heavy Boston trip for a little while. And yeah, so anyhow, good stuff from The Who. The Kids Are Alright. Movie soundtrack. Highly worth, checking out if you like, 70s hard rock. I doubt anybody doesn't know who The Who is. I mean, if you've got to have been living under a rock, or you're like 13 if you don't know who The Who is. But yeah, if you're into that classic, the Beatles and the Stones and stuff like that, do yourself a favor and check out this one as well. So there you go, The Kids Are Alright by The Who, and that's my last one for this update. Appreciate you all watching once again. Leave a message below, and I will reply as quickly as I can. God bless. Stay strong.